We now move forward to our next panel discussion, India's GCC's Revolution, Reshaping the Global Pharma Landscape. GCCs have evolved from support units into global innovation hubs. This session explores how they are now driving India's strategic transformation and competitiveness in the pharma sector. I now invite our mentor, Mr. Vikrant Gill, Senior Director of Marketing and Insights at Fortera, to take the floor along with our distinguished panelists. Mr. Sanjeev Shishu, former CVP Global Service Center, Novo Nordisk, India. Ms. Shilpa Ahir, Global Lead for GCC Strategy, Performance and Analytics, Sandoz. Mr. Himanshu Gill, for Sehgals, Founder and Director Delivery, Octavus Consulting. Mr. Kamaljeet Behra, Director Global Analytics, IQVIA, for this discussion.
I am Sanjeev. Hello. Yeah. Are we good? Okay. Good morning, everyone. See. Okay. Everyone is awake. I thought that I need to check that one first, but some people are still saying good morning, right? So again, good morning, everyone. That sounds good. Thank you. And a big round of applause to Dr. Bhaskar because of his presentation. You all guys are awake, right? I was in a big flux that after lunch session, generally it's not become a session, it becomes a snoozing session, right? So please put your phones also on snooze, right, if it is there on the one. Okay, great. Thank you. Today's discussion is very, very interesting. GCC, I think we've spoken maybe 10 times since morning. A lot of presentation, everybody is speaking about GCC. Now let's decode or demystify what is GCC. It's been known by different terminologies. GCC, Global Capability Center. Somebody says GDC, Global Delivery Center. Somebody might say GSC, it's not GCC, GSC, Global Service Center. And then there's another one, GIC, and many more, right? These four I remember in my tenure, but there could be many more in this one. So this discussion primarily is going to demystify what exactly this is, how it has started, the evolution of GCCs in India, right? We've been ranked #1 in manufacturing. I think we've also been ranked #1 in GCCs in India as of now. And then we also look at the potential challenges for the AI. AI is also there, right? A lot of talk is about AI, which is happening in this one. But before we go into detail on this one, I let my panel members to introduce themselves briefly, right? And add one line about that. What do you think about the GCCs 10 years ago versus now? And then we'll take the discussion from there.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, thanks a lot. So, one line introduction for myself. I'm Sanjeev Shishu. I spent my life in commercial side, but last 5 years of my job were heading the GCC for Novo Nordisk. The difference in GCC is 10 years ago, it was a fight to convince the headquarter to set up a GCC in India. It was more a proof of concept stage. Now it is part of the corporate strategy. So that is a huge difference in the GCCs in India.
Hi everyone, Himanshu Sehgal. So at the moment, Octavus, it's a consulting company. Okay, so we are not a GCC basically. So first, I'll introduce myself. So Himanshu Sehgal with 15 years of experience, worked with a GCC, Novartis basically, and that's where me and Vikrant met also. Now, 10 years ago and today, I think GCC has evolved as previously as a back office. 10 years ago, it was more of a back office. Now, it is heading towards innovation. It is not yet there, but it is literally heading towards the innovation part. So, I think that's my take on what GCC was and now.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kamaljeet and I am from IQVIA. I am glad that at least some of you or most of you would understand IQVIA. Every time I tell my relatives I work in IQVIA. They don't know what is it. Okay, anyway, jokes apart. I have around 15 years of experience intersecting in pharma, healthcare data, real world data analytics, and more recently in the last 5-6 years, AI, agentic AI, and other things, right? For me, what is the shift in the 10 years is, like many people mentioned, like we used to be called as global delivery centers almost 3 years back, right? Now we are business, global business units, right? So that's a big change, and the shift, as most of us mentioned, right? It's from a delivery efficiency, cost arbitrage, moving towards, right, not necessarily innovation, but driving that outcomes, right? Metrics is where India as a GDC center is also kind of, or delivery center is also contributing to the outcomes rather than just efficiency measures.
Hi, hello everyone. Good afternoon. So I'm Shilpa Ahir. I'm representing Sandoz here. About 25 years of work, out of which almost 13-14 years have been in pharma with Novartis, with you, and now in Sandoz. I think in the last 10, 15, 20 years, GCCs have moved from called, not really considered core to the company from a strategy perspective, but now very fast they're moving to almost being called a second headquarters. I'm seeing that very drastic change from the time that I have been following the GBS industry in the last 20 years that it has been growing in India.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm Vikrant Gill. I work with Fortier. Don't worry, you will not have heard it, right? You can Google it later on. It's a competitor to IQVIA, basically, right? And we work in the CRO space.
Should I get out of the way?
Yeah, yes. There'll be Russell afterwards. That's fine.
No, you can fight it out.
Right. But I think, say, initially I was telling that we've been known by different names. So there's one name which Kamal brought in, GBU. See, like the new name has come, new acronym, the Global Business Unit is coming through. And everybody talk about that we started as from the cost arbitrage perspective. Now, Sanjeev, I just want to ask you that you have built the company, built the GCC, and brought the operations from your headquarters to India, right? Was it purely driven by cost arbitrage, or it is because of the talent which is available in India?
First thing I would like to state it very strongly. We Indians have got a habit of underselling ourselves. Most of the pharma companies were not looking at cost arbitrage. But Bangalore is used to saying the word offshoring and saying that I have to be cheap, I have to be cheap. Nobody was looking at it. There is a tremendous talent shortage in pharma. If any pharma company has to grow, it requires talent. And that talent was evidently available in India. At least Novo Nordisk was very clear it was not a cost arbitrage, it was a growth enabler. If we want to do large clinical trials very fast, we need a lot of statisticians, we need a lot of clinical trial experts, we need a lot of trial centers. I want to do PV, I require a lot of people. I want to do marketing, I need marketing professionals. The country which can provide is India. So GCC, at least very clearly for Novo, was defined as a growth enabler, and each function was an integral part of the headquarter function. It was not a delivery unit, it was not a service unit, it was a part of the function. We were at the decision-making table. So that is something which, as an Indian, all of us need to be very clear. Just because the work is being done in Bangalore, it is not cheap, it is not offshoring. We are doing exactly the same work which somebody else is doing in headquarters or anywhere else. And we should have the same pride. I do not like the word offshoring, I do not like the word back office. But unfortunately, those phrases have been very popular in Bangalore from IT industry.
Right, I think well said on this one. And this is the strategic perspective, primarily bringing on GCs to India. And Shilpa, you brought in the point on cost, right? How does it differ from, like, would it be a policy different from one company to other company, where it mostly cost arbitrage in one and where it is mostly value driven in another one? How do you see in that perspective?
No, I think I agree with you that it's no longer a cost game, because if you actually look at the analysis that we do internally, talent cost analysis, we see as you go up the hierarchy of levels, our cost that we pay out to our leaders almost not very differential. No longer there is a significant difference. So we are ready to pay global salaries to our leaders because that is the value that India is also adding. So it's now more it's now driven by the value you're adding and not the arbitrage is there only from a foreign exchange differential point of view. But otherwise, when it comes to talent, when it comes to risk mitigation, to problem solving, to value outcomes, even if we were in their shoes, we would not make these decisions just based on one factor, that is cost. And we are seeing that more and more in the decision making that's happening on what needs to move to GCC part of the team and what stays in the countries or regions that they are currently in.
Okay. And Himanshu, right? From your perspective, you've not been part of GCC, right? You worked with GCC in the past. Now, looking from an external lens, so we have two veterans who has built the teams within the GCC. How do you see it, right? Do you see it the same way that people are seeing, or you see it differently, or perceived it's the outside world?
Okay, from the outside world, GCC, honestly, when it started, I mean, that's my perspective. When it started, it was more of a cost arbitrage. Talent was there, but you know, the world saw us from the IT industry as a service provider, and you know, there was a pressure on the pharma community that you know provide service at a lesser cost basically. But now the cost arbitrage, as what Shilpa was saying and as Sanjeev sir was saying, it is gone now. Our leaders are paid, you know, as par with the global, you know, standards. So, you know, in terms of just talent, now it is talent driven, honestly. We are producing so many B Pharmas, B Tech biotechs, you know, and which is the X-fold, I would say, compared to any country in the world, basically. So now the journey, you know, and then that's also the reason why we have, you know, 20, 30 global pharma companies across India, or maybe more than that, across India having their GCC. Then there are big fours who have their capability centers or acceleration centers specific to healthcare, which one of them I was also again part of PwC. So they are now driven by more talent basically. The pool of talent what we have, the experience we have gained over the years, you know, in terms of working with service delivery centers basically. And that's, I think that is from an perspective where I was inside also, and now I'm looking from the outside world also. That's, I think, the driving force.
Okay. So what I'm getting is that we initially might have started with the cost arbitrage, but now because we moved up in the value chain, right? It's mostly because of the talent what we have in India, the GCCs are coming to India right now. And if I ask Kamal on this one, right? Because once you move up in the value chain, you definitely need to have success metrics, right? How do you measure this? How do you say that, okay, we have moved up in the value chain? And within IQVIA and the broader system, how do you define that metric? So what are the metrics that you're using previously versus what you're using right now?
Yeah, no, that's a fair question, and I'll slightly differ. It's not necessarily always talent put. As we move on, right? How many of them, right, are actually the good talent? That's what matter. And as you mentioned about the metrics, right? It's not about driving something at scale now, because we have a lot of people to do things, but it's more about how we are driving outcomes, success metrics. That's what important, right? So if I have clearly seen this in my last 6 years, right? Or before that, when I joined, I used to hear that my team was not given, right, chance to write custom codes, do ML algorithms and other things, right? It is predominantly, and like others said, right, it's kindly driven in the US or maybe some other best core destination like no, Poland, other places. But I think that shift has changed when we show the attitude or think beyond delivering just, right? Start to doing innovation. So it's the ownership is with us, right? I think some of the GCCs which think progressively, like Sanjeev sir mentioned, others mentioned, you have to act on that, come out of that, you know, delivery mindset. Otherwise, there is still job for delivery, and we have a lot of people to do that. But do you want to do that as a GCC? That's your call.
So from the success metrics, what I understand is that the work which is being done in the US is now shifted within the India, right? So is it also aligned with the authority to do that work by India, right? Like the authority resides within India, or authority still resides in, and I'm gonna come to Shilpa's point as well later on, still resides at the headquarters perspective. How does it differ?
So essentially, we have to agree that, right? I come from the pharma analytics, right, or clinical trial. We come from that, right? We can't deny that more than 40% of the business come from US, right? So naturally, most of the data also, right? We deal with 300 million patient records in US. How much we have in India, right? So decisions are taken by global leaders, but there is always a myth, right? No, they prefer US people doing that. There is nothing like that. They love us working on that because we are more flexible. We stretch times, okay, because we have not so stringent work policies. But I think that's a myth that we are thinking that they are headquarters centric. I think when I say the term GBU, Global Business Unit, that's the key reason. There is no headquarters so called. You are a global team. Whoever has the appetite and the interest drive that.
Yeah, sure, please, Sanjeev.
I think every company has a different culture and a different outlook and probably a different stage in the life cycle. At least in Novo Nordisk from day one, we were at the decision-making table. So there was no difference between a team member in Bangalore or in headquarters or in USA. And the career paths were fluid. So somebody can come into GCC, somebody can move away from GCC. And we were so confident, we were not worried of being called a global service center, because it didn't matter at all. The decision making was equally in Bangalore. I had more VPs than probably any person at my level in headquarters. And all VPs, our ranks were absolutely same across the world. So it also depends on the company. We were fortunate. It is difficult to get science graduates in Denmark.
6 million population, right?
So it is fine. So sometimes you strike it lucky.
Right.
But it is fine.
I'll just add to that. Sorry, I didn't. I think I agree with you because we were part of Sandoz became spun off 3 years ago, and when we spun off, Novartis was very matured in its GBS. It was operating with a lot of perceived to be operating with a lot of ownership at the GBS side, which we realized that was also a myth later. So when we spun off, we didn't want to make the mistakes we made in the past. So we hesitated a lot, thinking, how do we treat the GCC, what kind of operating model we need to have. And if you today see, we went very slow, not because we didn't want to make decisions fast, but because we didn't want to again have the functions feel that they have lost power, and they have their teams here as well. So I agree with what Sir is saying here, because we have a model where the functional ownership lies with the function, and they are not you and I and we and you and that person. They are one. Okay. They are us. So the budget decisions, the ways of working within the function is distributed as per the functional ways of working. It's not GCC versus global or headquarters.
So if I take away some point from there is what Sanjeev mentioned, and what Shilpa you are saying is that currently with the 10 to 15 years of Indian GCC structure, right, we have global functions sitting within India, and that's part of IQVIA as well coming through. And these are the people who are making the decisions right now, which are the global scale. Now, it brings to me the pertinent question is that how does innovation in GCCs being taken care of, right? And I give you a very hypothetical example is that if a research happens in an office which is in Bangalore or Hyderabad or Delhi, right? Will it be patented to India office or will it be patented to the global headquartered office? How does you carry that innovation within the organization? Like it could be an a large learning model as well, right? Depending upon that one, it could be anything.
Yeah, I can take that. We have patented at least 3-4 AI/ML models, right? you see, right, where you want to commercialize it, right? It's typically like for pharma, right, where which agency you are going, whether FDA, EMA, depends on the market, right? Similarly, I think the target is always go with the US, right, patent office first, and if there is no harm, not much of hassle, why not do it a global thing, right? Because you have the ecosystem, right, in the company functions, legal and all those who can drive this for you. It's more about you proving that this is worth to be patented by our company.
Okay. So what I take is still at the global headquarter level, the majority of the innovation is got done. Himanshu, you want to say something on this one?
So, per se, honestly, innovation, I mean, I'm talking about more scientific, not AI and all. At a more scientific level, firstly, innovation is not happening in India, basically. There is no R&D as such. You know, most of the work is analytical, testing, and all those kind of activities are being done at the India level. But yes, as what Kamal said, that you know, if some sort of patent needs to happen, and it is sound, honestly, because where the money lies, US is where the money lies. So obviously, the patent would happen, would take place first in US, and though the legal team who is actually vetting that process is maybe sitting in India also, but because US is the money driver, and I think that's the reason why you know, patents on all these kind of things usually take care there. I mean, taken care there. But to add to that, there are Indian GCCs. I wouldn't call them a GCC. Actually, they also don't establish them as GCCs. But there are Indian pharma companies now who are actually working and trying to create innovative products. Whether they are still dependent on inorganic growth, acquiring companies from outside, like Sun recently acquired, and a couple of others. But still, they have now started to think about, you know, innovating in India. But these are Indian pharma companies. I don't know if we call them a GCC or not, but yes.
Okay. So from innovation perspective, it does happen, right? It's still little unclear from which perspective.
I will divide innovation into two parts.
Yeah.
One is the R&D part, discovering a molecule or doing a search, which I would definitely not advise my company to do in India. Right now, the IP regulations are not that strong. I used to joke around, the most heavily used machine in a company is a Xerox machine in India. So it would take a lot of guts to do the basic research in India, one part. But you can do a lot of innovation on the other side. If all the processes, if all the analysis, if the trial design is happening in India, quite a bit of commercially viable innovation of a significant magnitude has to happen in India, because most of the work is happening in India. We are not dumb operators. We have been given outcomes. So we have to figure out, one, is it still required to work that way, or is it a much better way of doing things? And that is where the Indian centers can contribute a lot and become very strategic for the company, because the bulk of the manpower is in India. And if you don't innovate with that, then one can question the leadership.
I think that's a wonderful point, Sanjeev. And this brings to my next question is, how do you decide that this GCC is strategic in nature and this GCC is more operational in nature?
You are asking me?
Yes.
Let me put it this way. As I said, I was lucky. I spent a lot of a reasonably successful career on the commercial side. So I had a network in the company. So before taking the job, that was the discussion I had with my boss. Okay, I'm not interested in running a cost center. And the company was very nice, or whatever way it is. So we had the freedom, but that decision, let me put it this way, if some company is demanding that it has to be run as a cost center, you start with it, but keep on fighting them. till the time the leadership gets enlightenment, which they are going to get, because Indians are pretty good. We are very good at what we do. Get an entry, but look beyond cost arbitrage.
Okay, wonderful. Now, let's move to the next section, right, on this one. When I started working, knowing VBA in Excel was like you're the god, basically. You've been treated like if you want something, people will come and give it to you, right? Because you are the person who can help to analyze the data in a very faster way. Then VBA stayed for some time. After VBA went, then SQL comes in, right? Now SQL is gone, now Python comes in. Now with ChatGPT, Claude, I can write code, right, without even knowing what is written in the code in that way, right? Now, if this is how the technology or the tech has evolved, how does it going to impact the overall GCC workforce? And then you being into the data analytics part, Kamal, right? I just want to check to know that, okay, what exactly is going to happen maybe in next 2-3 years, depending upon the tech uses which is happening? Is it going to enhance the GCC presence or strengthen the GCC presence, or it's going to weaken the GCC presence?
So I may not give you a clear perspective whether it is going to be a pros or con for a GCC perspective, but every individual working from India location, if you consider GCC, they have a big opportunity, right, to prove them beyond their core skill sets, right? Like you very well mentioned, right? It's inevitable if we don't talk about the LLMs, right? A person who without coding can actually leverage, and this is a classic need, right, especially in this industry, because it's not like a layman industry. If I ask someone, give me 10 parts of car, they can tell easily, right? Give me 10 drugs name, people struggle, right? You would have tested, otherwise test with your friend, non-pharma friends. Now we need people, like in my team, I need people who know pharma terms, indication name, they should know what is non-Hodgkin lymphoma, as well as I need someone who can query big data, right? This was very difficult before LLMs.
Ultra humans are required right now.
Yes, unicorns. We need some unicorns to do that. But with Copilot, people can't give an excuse. I can't learn or augment myself in querying big data, right? And that advantage is coming. Again, think about, right? We have a mass scale of people. And as Sanjeev sir mentioned, we always have to prove that, right? We are not just to deliver what is being asked. We have been delivering 100 times on that process. And we are the person doing like a slogging on that. Can't I just question that process? Can I reduce that instead of a day to some hours? What is required from that? Do I need to write a Python script for that? Do I leverage some LLM to do my secondary research? And when people start doing that, and that's what we are seeing nowadays, is that's where the acceptance, the trust increases with the global offices or the global business that yes, these people are driving. And trust me, 90% of the business innovations are driven by our team. In fact, we host the hackathons, innovation, all the events for the global team from India.
Okay, sounds good. So basically we need business people who knows how to code, or at least go to Claude or ChatGPT, get the code, right? So that's the technical ability what we need. Does that differ for your organization and Himanshu from your perspective as well?
Yeah, it differs quite a lot because I think, first of all, we have a little vary of AI being very traditionally, how Novartis and most of the pharma organizations are. Because if the value of the outcome is not changing, whether you use AI or not, I would question whether you have the ability to judge this exact application. We are not interested in you increasing the speed or increasing accuracy from 90 to 95% using Copilot versus just Excel, etc. What we want you to bring to the table is even being curious about, is this the best outcome that the company can get from this process? Are you stepping back and looking at the process end to end? Are there better models outside which may or may not even use AI for that matter, or better operating models that we should be considering? That thought and understanding and expertise is what matters. So how do you look at the outcome, and therefore which AI, because we have enough experts to tell you how to do it, whether agentic is better or Gen AI is better. We don't really need to be experts in that, but you need to be understanding by using that, is your outcome going to be 10x or minus 10x.
So it's mostly the domain expertise in depth, and then on top of that, you need some functional or business expertise as well.
Application outcomes.
Right. Himanshu?
Okay. My thoughts are actually about AI are very on the negative side, I would say, really. Because I'll give you with one example. A couple of months back, I wanted to hire a manager basically for my team. So I floated a case study, and around 15-20 people were shortlisted, and then they completed a case study. Out of those 15 people, around 6 to 7 used AI to create those case studies actually, right? And see, there were 7 different people, their thought process were different, and everything was different, but the outcome which came out of it was pretty much the same, more or less. So I think now, with even AI in picture, I believe that it is more important to have a human touch now. For analysts like us, for people, in competitive intelligence, if you talk about generating insights, AI would definitely faster your work. So, you have an Excel with 5,000 data points basically. So it will process it faster for sure. It will create graphs faster. You don't have to put in manual labor to create pivot tables and all that. But at the end of the day, I need a human to actually generate insights, because that AI is not going to generate insights. And even if it does, they are going to be very generic in nature, at least for now. Maybe, yes, maybe in future, what the kind of, the way we all are developing or being dependent on AI, yes, maybe in future it might start, generating a lot of insights which are human in nature, or more actionable insights basically. But at the moment, I feel that AI is just a tool basically in our quiver basically.
So somebody who can use AI in a smarter way to really
Exactly.
generate the insights for the business problem what they have. That's
Exactly.
primarily is what we're looking
Exactly. And AI can just be an enabler or just a tool basically, as I said.
at. Correct, right. I've been constantly told that we are on time, right? But I'll have one question before we open it for the questions in the forum. We have a lot of students over here, right? So what capability they need to build for that would want to get into any of the GCC's perspective? What kind of capability they need to have it? And it's from everybody, right? We'll start with Sanjeev.
How many of you are pharmacists in this room? So for the pharmacist, by accident or whatever it is, maybe your parents wanted you to become doctors. You didn't get in there, you became a pharmacist. I wanted to become an engineer, I became a pharmacist. But I fell in love with it. It is a phenomenal profession. Please get domain knowledge. Pharma is one industry where domain knowledge can make a huge difference to the outcomes. So please get it. It is a very boring advice, but then I am old. So it is fine. Please get a domain knowledge, be proud of what you are doing and become better and better in that. That is your differentiation. About AI, if the pharmacist would know, the cornerstone of pharmacy is traceability. We like documentation. As she said, that is the reason we don't like AI, because if it is a black box, we'll check it out in the peripheral functions like finance, IT, everything, but not in the core processes. Because we want documentation, we want traceability. In the future, AI will change. And if any place is going to leverage AI in pharma landscape, it will be Bangalore, not because of pharma. Almost every Fortune 500 company has a capability center in Bangalore. The amount of work and amount of experience which we are gaining, not in the industry but outside of the industry, is huge. And innovation happens across the boundaries, not within silos. Innovation happens when industry talks to another industry. So I would not be worried about AI. Right now we do not know how to use it, and pharma will be very careful using AI because the stakes are very high. I was just joking with somebody. If pharma industry was run with like IT industry, imagine like window hangs and nobody minds. Can you imagine that happening with our drug?
Yes.
We are a different industry. We have a lot of responsibility. We take our time because the patient security is patient safety is paramount. Rest everything is secondary. IT industry runs on a very good slogan, fake it till you make it. Which is basically saying be a fraud till you are not caught.
Perfect way to put it out.
So in pharma, but AI will come. I'm not saying no to it. It is a phenomenal technology. We will master it. And the innovation is going to happen in India because we are gaining experience across industries. And we have not even begun to leverage it. So if you are young, this is the right time. And every generation has been told they are entering a even when I was young, I was told the same thing.
New era.
The world is changing, it keeps on changing. And opportunity keeps on opening. So best of luck, don't worry.
Okay, so I second what Sanjeev sir said, though I am younger. For someone who's working for a GCC or a pharma consulting, I think your core, your B Pharma education, your basics should be very, very, very clear, very strong, very clear. Because unless you do, you clean up your act basically there, you'll not be able to go forward and become a leader in that space basically, right? At this moment, I go to multiple colleges, talk to a lot of students. They are all, sir, we know SQL, we know data analytics, we know Tableau, we know Power BI. And again, once again, Power BI, Tableau, SQL, again, these are your tools. To generate insights, you actually need to understand the basic of science. You need to understand what is the difference between a biologic and a small molecule. If you don't understand those basics, it is really, really futile that you have learned Power BI or XYZ things. I have interviewed students who do not know how many phases are there in a clinical trial. And these are MBA students from decent colleges. So, your technical basic pharmacy knowledge is a very, very, very important tool to have. And second thing is, openness to learn right now. I talk to a lot of students and they do not have that malleability basically at this moment. They feel that, we are graduating from IIHMR Bangalore or IIHMR Jaipur or IIT of the world, and then we should get right now a CEO position in a company. No, that's actually a fact. There's nothing to laugh about, especially for students. So those are the two things I would say. We all as students we need to develop. Third thing, we Indians, one of my ex-bosses, and who's like my mentor, he always used to say that, he still says that we Indians are like water. Whichever vessel you put us in, will take that shape basically. So no worries about what AI is coming or what all is, tools and techniques or whatnot is coming. No one is going to take our jobs because we are very smart people. We can, we can take shape in whatever vessel we are going to be put across basically. So yeah, those are my 2 cents.
Thank you. Just one request to Kamal and Shilpa. We've been signaled quite a number of times that we are way over time. So if you can keep it a little short, that's helpful.
Sure. 30 seconds, right? First of all, follow your passion, right? And I'm in 100% in agreement what Sanjeev sir and Himanshu mentioned. Follow your passion because that you will enjoy every day of your work, right? Try to understand, explore what do you want to do every day morning, get up and don't feel right burned out of that. Secondly, be always proactive, never get into your comfort zone, right? And third, I personally feel like AI is not a black box because most often we or my team develop that. right? So we understand AI. So I have a very different perspective. We are living in a golden era where this dynamics are shifting, right? Like in the 90s, we had computer science. No matter you didn't join a TCS, Infosys, or Accenture. This is an era where you can, right, upskill yourself or augment yourself. Like other my panelists may agree to make that difference in your beyond your the core foundation of the knowledge. Thank you.
I'll be very
Yeah,
short.
yeah, absolutely. Please go ahead.
Just two things, just build and strengthen your strategic mindset and your thought leadership. What I mean with that is what you're studying now, how is it really done across the industry? For example, how are the clinical pathways in Lilly versus Novo versus Novartis? Are there differences? Are there similarities? Why did they take those pathways? Why are there differences there? Try to think about that and don't just be limited to your theoretical knowledge. It's very important. And thought leadership, what I mean is uh, there are many opinions. You hear opinions, your friends have opinions. Have your own opinion and be curious. And I'll end at that.
Oh, thank you, thank you. So in summary, so if I say that one, that from GCC perspective, where we've been 15, 20 years, maybe started as some of the cost arbitrage, except Sanjeev's company where they were lucky to have that one, and then moved value up the chain. Now we are not really considered as a cost center, or maybe cheaper in a not a right word, right, to be used. We have come to a point where we need to start, or we are showcasing the innovation as a part of our DNA. We've been adding value in terms of the decision strategy which has been taken at the headquarters, or we are helping the headquarters to take those decisions in a faster and more quicker way. To go there, panels have already given you the wisdom, what exactly you need to do. You need to be very thorough in what you do. You need to learn about the new areas, specifically the new technology, what is coming through, and be comfortable with those ones. But before we end this session, I just open it for the questions to the audience. If they have any questions, they want to know anything additional, what we already spoken. One question over there. Please state your name and whom you are asking the question as well.
Hello, this is Kavita from IIHMR Bangalore. I wanted to know how is government scheme like Biopharma Shakti going to attract more pharma GCCs in India?
Anyone?
Politically incorrect answer. I don't think the GCs are, at least the multinationals are not dependent on Government of India policies. This growth has happened independent of it. If anything, it might help it more, but I don't think anything is stopping the growth of GCCs. With the personalized medicine and whatnot is coming in, GCs will keep on continue to grow. They have to grow.
Yeah, I have a question. My question is mainly for Kamaljeet and Himanshu. So, Octopus Consulting and IQVIA, they are not GCC, right? But they do the same kind of work. They are the service provider. They help big pharma companies. With the rise of GCC in India, how that is going to impact the business of IQVIA, companies like IQVIA, Octopus Consulting, ZS Associates, consulting firms which cater to life sciences, industry.
So I think I can take that. Maybe Vikrant might differ from me. IQVIA is not only a CRO; it is one of the biggest health data vendor. Even the likes of Novo, GSK come to us for the data. So we have a very big business which runs.
It is an ecosystem. Yes. It is an ecosystem. It is not us versus them.
So
at the end of the day, everybody needs
each other.
Everybody has a specialization. You just leverage it to grow together.
But what I know that there are many task, right, projects which were done by companies like ZS Associates and other, consulting firms. Now they are being done, in that company actually in the GCC center. So, what's your take, Himanshu, on this?
You should ask this to GCCs.
No, so I'm asking about how the business of IQ companies like Octopus Consulting that is getting impacted
It's
because
not
of
impacted.
Okay.
It's very positively impacted because it's the operating model that the GCCs undertake. In hybrid model, you need to leverage vendors and CROs for your with you. You cannot just work in a silos. That's part of an operating model. That the way you design your GCC design with the function within the function, you may decide that, say, for example, regulatory. I will do certain one type of activities from GCC, and this other type it makes sense to be given to, say, IQVIA, because they do it better more than anything else. It's whether you buy or build, and that's the formula you would use here also, which we use.
Thank you, ma'am.
See, fundamentally, in the end of the day, it is an ecosystem and it keeps both the GCC and the consulting companies on their toes.
Right.
So both will keep on improving and
Thank
both will be required. I don't think it is either or. If anything, it is a better outcome for the system.
Thank you.
And consulting companies give a outsider perspective. So that is something which is,
Right.
Bigger consulting firms like IQVIA, they are data providers plus, the perspective. We as a smaller firm, we are more agile. Wherever you want to put us, we go there. That's one thing. And second thing is, and again, expertise is also there. Not everyone can hire everyone, right? So Sandoz might require an expertise which is there, with other companies. So they have to rely on an external service provider like Octopus or IQVIA to get the work done, basically. So they cannot hire everyone. GCCs, yes, they are bigger in size, 7,000 employees, 4,000 employees. But again, at the end of the day, they have a limited infrastructure, and they cannot, and then, that's where we adapt and when we come.
Thank you. Thank you for the answer.
Right. Okay. Any additional question? Anyone? Is all clear? Or above the head? Or full clear? Nobody is saying anything. Okay. With the interest of time, I thank you each and every panel member for being candid, honest, and bearing with me for the last 35 to 40 minutes. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you to the entire panel for bringing forward such valuable insights. The discussion clearly highlighted how GCCs are moving beyond traditional support function to become key drivers of innovation, R&D, and advanced analytics, strengthening India's position as a global strategic hub. I sincerely thank you once again for highlighting these important perspectives and for delivering such an engaging and impactful session. I request all panel members to stay back for felicitation. It's now time to extend our heartfelt thanks to our panelists for an insightful and enriching session. I further request Mr. Vikrant Gill to acknowledge all the panelists for their valuable contribution to the discussion. Thank you, sir. May I request Dr. Sarla R., Professor IIHMR Bangalore, to kindly felicitate our moderator, Mr. Vikrant Gill, as a mark of our gratitude. Keep the energy going and make things a little more interactive, we have a fun quiz lined up for all of you. I would request Dr. Naina to take the stage and conduct the quiz. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Hope all of us were attentive, including me. I am making questions out of every session. So I should also keep myself attentive. So a lot of GCCs were heard, right? And a lot of synonymous terminologies were also brought in. So can you please give me two more terminologies that can be used synonymously? Okay, faculty last. Let me give first chance to either of the students. Yes, please. You know the answer? Yes? Either of you. Yeah. Come. Can you please pass the mic?
Hello.
A Global Development Center,
Yes.
Global Business Unit,
Okay.
Global Service Center.
Please come. She was making notes. I didn't know. Somebody in red had to answer. The one before, yeah.
IDPL,
Yes, please come. So, what is our ranking in academia industry collaboration? What is India's ranking in academia industry collaboration? This was from morning session. Yes, please stand up and answer. 84. Any other answer? No, I don't give it to you. I'll give it to her because in the morning she missed a prize. So she was very close by. It is 86, but still I'm giving it to you because you said either of the number right. So, Ansari sir, please give away the prize. Okay, one abbreviation. What does AICTE stand for? AI, yes, please. It is All India Council of Technical Education. Yes, after the next panel discussion, we will come back for the same session. Thank you.